Let's see if this actually goes. Who knows? Is this better? Is this better? Is this live or Memorex? Let's see here. We'll get a quick read on what our situation is. The stream won't. You're gonna have to probably go back and see the page shows that I went live streaming on a non-event now. It's not part. It's not part of the. It's now. It's no longer part of the event. Yeah. Yeah. Did you get a notification? So. All right. What's that? So do you follow? So all right. Well, let's try this all again. I'm. I have no idea what in the world is going on here. So let's go in from our intro and we'll come. All right, so we're going to try take two again on this. Who knows how many times you got to reboot your computer for stuff to actually start working. So definitely thank you for tuning in and hanging there with us while we go through our technical difficulties. Last week was audio problems. This week now we've got video. The drop frame rates now are showing it. Drop frame rates are at 0, so that's a good sign. I got green good, so our frame rate should be going there. So I don't know. I'm just. This is why I think I'm truly ready to have a drink now. 20-something minutes later, and we're late. So let me introduce on the podcast again. We're gonna try this take two here on this. So welcome to the biggest happy hour in a half an hour. Chun Jay of Royal Ruckus, also known as Mr. Roberts' neighborhood. Robinson? I don't know. Mr. Rogers. I see. I don't even know what I'm saying now. So. Hey,
when did you start on the rum today?
Oh, you would think I would have been drinking all day, but yeah, no, yeah, definitely have not been. I'm not even there yet, but now I need to. So that's the problem, right? So let's just get in there. So yeah, I need to crack this open, Jamie. So excuse my manners here. I'm just gonna dive right into
it. Get right to it, man.
I'm gonna get right to it here. So actually, let me go. I'm gonna open up this one. I haven't opened this up. We're gonna talk a little bit about this. We're gonna talk a little bit about that, and so I'm definitely gonna have to. I owe Jamie a lot here for putting him up for an extra 27 minutes, 8 minutes here of all this shenanigans and so forth, and so on. So now it's going to take another 27 minutes to open the damn bottle up. Good Lord! So
for me, it's going to be the biggest happy hour in a full hour.
Yeah, it's gonna be in the whole damn evening now. So yeah. So anyway, so we're trying to open up some of our. Too bad we don't have. Yeah, I may have a knife around here somewhere. You'd think I actually would be prepared with what's going on here. So, all right, holy shamolies, molies. Yeah, so let's do this right here. So yes, welcome to the podcast. Here we are drinking some gold rum from Outerbanks Distilling called Kill Devil Rum. Here we go.
Nice.
Yes. So this is part of our trip up to North Carolina that we did a couple weeks ago there. So we definitely a big shout out to Tony and all the guys up there who we got a chance to meet. So cheers to you, Jamie. Thank you for coming on there. Yes.
Good to be here.
Yeah. So fellow podcast alum, man, I should know this, but do you remember what number you were?
I don't remember what number. I don't. I'm sorry.
It's all right. Now I should be apologizing. It's my show. I should remember, right? So, but anyway, so yeah, so welcome to the happy hour. So this is a new one for you. So I want to catch up with you. You got a lot going on there. You know, you got your hands full with you got Little Guy. You got your hands full with some new music projects, and you got a full life going on there. So here, cheers, and let's get started.
Yeah, I'll drink to that.
So yeah,
Thanks for having me on, man.
You got it. So you said you were dying to find out more about this Florida man story, and we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that in a second. But first, we're gonna kick this off with our fun games here. We play What the Florida there. So let's see if what happens when I change screens. It'll probably blow things up here. So hold on. So yeah, so that is our what the Florida segment there. So yes, the cards do say WTF, but of course, all right. So here's our what the all right. So here we go, Jamey. So let's see what your answer to this is.
Okay.
If humans came with a warning label, what would yours say? I swear we've had this one before. No? All right. So if humans came with a warning label, what would yours say?
Careful may bite.
Oh, careful may bite. Hold on.
I am from South Florida.
That is true.
After all.
Did you do any bath salts today?
No, not at all.
Okay,
not
good. Okay. So yeah, Siri, thank you for tuning back in. Thank you for hanging. What? Are we frozen again? There's no way we could be frozen again. All right, if we're frozen, then we're definitely pulling the plug on this. You know what? So now we're now we're going up crazy on our bandwidth again here. Now we're starting to drop some. All right, so we need to get in and out of here tonight, I think. So, all right, yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, but I don't know. Oh, there I see the lag. We're a little laggy. All right, but at least it looks like it's not too terrible. So, so yeah. So thanks for tuning in. For those that don't know, Jamey was one of our podcast alums, as I mentioned, very early on. At I want to say it was towards the end of 2020, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Right. In the killer backdrop with all your books, your book room, right?
Man, that was so fun too, because I've moved the library to a different room, but that was like right before I moved it, and it was perfect because it looked like there should be a podcast about books in that room.
Right. Yeah, that's like a perfect. You should just like rent that out for people if they want a cool backdrop, right?
Right.
That's how everyone got judged about their Zoom backgrounds and when they've been all working from home and remote.
That's right.
How you're back now. Again, I probably would be questions. People would probably think I'm an alcoholic because of the backdrop, right? So,
hey, you got a great backdrop back there. You know.
Thanks. So so tell us what you've got going on here. So you got a new music, project you're working on here with Royal Ruckus, right?
Yeah, that's probably the most exciting thing I have going on right now for your listeners. I'm basically putting out an EP series called Mr. Rogers of the Rap Game. And it's basically three shorter records, that are inspired by the teaching and like who Mr. Rogers was, but in a rap context, exactly where you wouldn't expect it. And I actually think it was on this podcast that I talked about it for one of the first times because I was working on it back then. But I will tell you, it's a slightly different record now, 2 years later, because a lot happened between then and now.
Right.
I
think right because you were married at that point, right? The end of 2020.
Yeah, I think I had just gotten married a few months before when I was on the show last. And then shortly after I was on the show, my wife got pregnant. We had a baby. So now it's like, in a lot of ways, my life is the same. In a lot of ways, it's completely different. And
right.
the record changed too. The record grew with me.
So it, well, I guess what would you describe it? What do you mean it grew?
So well, for one thing, it was supposed to be a single record. Like a normal single straightforward record, just dropped this record. It was going to be called Mr. Rogers of the Rap Game.
Okay.
But as I started writing more songs and like conceiving of it, because it is a whole concept, I thought this thing needs to be like a story. And so I thought at some point it became clear that it belonged in 3 parts. Now, eventually I'll put it out as a deluxe edition and all that stuff probably. But basically in November, I want to put out the first part. And that is, let me be clear. This is not it's not a parody per se. This is not like as if Mr. Rogers are rapping. This is me rapping. This is a Royal Ruckus album. But it's sprinkled with Mr. Rogers references and insights and all of that. It's a rap record about being kind, which is not really something you've heard very often.
Right. Yeah, right. Yeah, there's usually it's about a hard life, right?
Yeah, it's thuggy, not huggy,
Yeah,
you
there
know?
you go. I like that.
But
You
this one's huggy.
there you go. You need to get some merch with that, man.
Hugs, not thugs.
That's right. That's right. So, so that's pretty. So how far along you got, or
Yeah, so I was just out in Texas recording with my boy DJ Sean P, and we basically cut all the vocals that needed to be cut. I'd already cut some here at my house, but then we went and did some more, and I recut some of them, and just got it where it needed to be. And he's a great guy to collab with. He was essentially my engineer there, but he made the beats for some of the songs. And he sort of acted as like a co-producer in a lot of ways in the studio, helping me, direct my vocals, and like we just had a great synergy.
Hmm.
So basically most of the record is recorded. There are some parts that are still in process, and I've got some guest rappers that are going to be on it that we're still waiting on verses. So just trying to like pace all that out, and then also because it is a concept record, before I finalize things, like I need the mixes, I need to hear it, and we'll have some interludes and things that will tie it all together. The room, that rug really tied the room together. Well, this interlude is gonna tie the record together. That's the idea.
there you go. So a little bit some of the similar interludes you had with some of the cicadas.
Yeah, so it's a similar idea to that. For summerofthecicadas.com, for those that are hearing about it for the first time, or you can find it on all the things. But that was like a double record I did that tells a story. So it's a similar idea. There is a little bit of a story here. I don't want to give away everything yet, but at the same time, it's still also a Royal Ruckus record. So like, I want you to be able to listen to it without even thinking of Mr. Rogers, but I also want you to walk away with some lessons, some of the important talk that he would have wanted you to have as well.
Very cool. So yeah, so if y'all aren't familiar as with Royal Ruckus, shame on you, first off. But yeah, so definitely check it out and get a little bit of where Jamey, kind of comes from lyrically, and also and some of your I guess theologian influenced. Obviously, obviously you're big, very part of your church, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
a little bit inspired, or inspirational, or what's the right word? Something like that.
yeah. No, I mean, and I think we spent a little time on the podcast before trying to sort out, like my history with like Christian rap as a genre and that kind of thing. And I've related to that in different ways. I am a Christian, and of course, like Mr. Rogers was too. Like he was even an ordained minister. But he also, as you know, didn't exactly preach on his show. And so, I really want this record to have a similar vibe where it speaks to everybody, but
Right.
definitely positive messages, and because it is a Royal Ruckus record, and I'm not trying to be like the Mr. Rogers, I'm the Mr. Rogers of the rap game. I'm not the actual Mr. Rogers. When you take
Yeah.
that into account, there's a difference. So you get a little more of me.
Right. Right. And and again, look, I mean, we're roughly in the same ballpark range, age, etc., and grew up with them, and also watched the movie, and and again to understand a little bit behind the guy who may have seen that, and now today's terms, right? Kids would
Yeah.
totally blow him off because he seems too, we live in a different time, right?
Yeah.
Let's just call it that. And but yeah, if you go back for us and be nostalgic and watching, some of the shows and some of those things and some of those life lessons and the way he approached trying to teach kids, or you know, or
Yeah.
so yeah, that Mr. Rogers movie with Tom Hanks. I'll tell you, I'm glad we stuck through it because we started watching it, and the first part of it was a little rough to make it through. It just wasn't clicking, and wasn't making sense. And then I'm glad we stuck with it because we were like, are we really going to turn off a Tom Hanks movie? And but yeah,
He was amazing.
yeah. So I mean, like I said, if you haven't seen the Mister Rogers movie yet with Tom Hanks, stick with it. The beginning is a little kind of not what you're expecting, but then it gets to it. So that's
Yeah.
all I guess I'll say without giving it away. So
Yeah.
definitely very cool.
Yeah.
So
Well, and one thing I did want to say too is Mr. Rogers is really, even though it's been almost 2 decades since he passed, the reality is kids were watching him all the way up into the early 2000s. New episodes, he was on for 31 seasons, so like kids in their mid 20s, not we're not just talking old farts, we're also talking like people in their mid 20s grew up with him too. So but what my thing is like, especially in the world of hip hop, are we learning to deal with our feelings by listening to Kanye West and Lil Nas X? That's the joke I made, and it's like, well, maybe there's some important lessons that we've forgotten from when we were little.
right, yeah,
uh,
yeah, it's definitely a way to. Yeah, you're right. Have we not been able to, with a lot of the mental uh, discussion that that's been going on lately, and to be able to talk to somebody and it's okay to express your feelings or talk to somebody about your feelings, right? So
yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah. So all right. So I know you're dying, like you said, you're dying to check this out into
Yeah.
our Florida man story here. So let me go since I since I had to basically redo all my stuff here. Give me one second. I'm going to flip over here to our article that we're going to read for our Florida man segment here, and I think you're going to love it because again, most of these I don't fully read all the way through. That's why it looks like I probably don't know how to actually read because I'm trying to read really fast and already drinking. So, all right, so let's hear here comes our Florida man segment here. So, all right. So this is No, because it was on a different screen that I had that was shift transition. Hey, I probably can hear me now. I bet you can hear me now, right? Oh, she can hear me now, she says. Okay. So, yeah, why don't you,
Woohoo!
hey, next time when you're trying to get my attention, throw a motherfucking machete at me, okay? Okay? That will definitely
Hit
get
him
my,
with the machete handle.
yes. Yes, hit me with machete. Not the guy machete, the other guy. All right, so you know what? Since this is going to be the start of all this, we're going to go ahead and pop open. So here's to you, our Florida man for today. This is
Look at that.
a new Florida man flavor that they've brought out here, as opposed to the blue can, the regular OG one here. This is Florida Man Down Under. Let me read the description to you first before we tell you about our Florida man for this week. This is a train wreck of a show, and it's only Thursday night. All right, so Florida Man Down Under. We turned the world's worst superhero upside down by brewing a moderate alcohol version of his namesake beer with fruit forward Motueka Galaxy and Nelson Sauvin hops grown in the southern hemisphere, creating a flavor profile that's crazier than an alligator boxing a kangaroo. The only question is, where will this guy go next? So here's to you, our Florida man, and here we go. Yeah. Oh, this is definitely a little bit less. It's actually not too bad. It's a little less taming than our anyway. So yeah. All right. So here we go. Here's our Florida man story for the week. Oh, she didn't like it. Maybe she likes the other one there. So all right. So here's our Florida man here story. And here, Jamey gets to hear it all over again, so he knows how this story ends. No spoilers.
I won't give it away.
Yeah, no spoiler alert, right? All right, so here's our Florida man story. Naked man wielding machete tried to steal another man's clothes, deputy says. Maybe this time I actually will be able to read it properly and rather than stumble over these words here. Naked suspect has prior criminal convictions, Volusia County Sheriff's Office says. A naked man threw a machete at another man and tried to rob him of his clothes on Monday, authorities said. Deputies responded to an area near Volusia County Fairgrounds shortly before 10 a.m. after a surveyor reported that a naked man approached him with a large machete-style knife, the Volusia County Sheriff's Office said. The victim told deputies that the suspect was picking palmetto berries in the woods and ran out of the brush, brandishing a machete and demanding his clothes, wallet, and phone. He said he began to give him the items then over to the suspect when the naked man hurled the machete and a handful of berries at him. Deputies said the handle of the machete hit the victim in the chest and he wasn't injured. The suspect fled into the wooded area and took off in a white Dodge Challenger, as you probably see in the picture there, in the little photos that are scrolling through. The office said a responding deputy realized circumstances and the suspect description was similar to another incident in August 2021 involving a man named Brandon Wright, who was found. Let's go, Brandon. Who was who was found running naked in the same area, according to authorities. Deputies soon received another report of a naked man outside of a gas station in DeLand. The sheriff's office released aerial video showing a police helicopter spotting the man, whom authorities identified as Wright. The suspect is seen laying down on his stomach in the parking lot as officers took him into custody without incident. Wright, 34, was charged with attempted robbery with a deadly weapon, aggravated battery with a deadly weapon, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, and aggravated assault with berries. Now, the last part I made up. So he was being held at the Volusia County Branch Jail without bond. His prior convictions dated back to 2009 and include kidnapping, false imprisonment, possession of cocaine, possession of firearm ammunition by a convicted felon, and battering a law enforcement officer and resisting an officer without violence, the sheriff's office said. So here's to you, Brandon. You are this week's Florida man down under, and according to that picture, your down under is seen in the picture there. So cheers, Brandon. Let's go, Brandon.
What a wild Florida man.
I don't know what could be worse is that so they have him in custody. All right. And that looks like it's pretty hot that day. Maybe that's why he take his clothes off. Or Millie, you know what, Jamey? Maybe he was listening in that white Challenger to Nelly, right? And maybe it got so hot in here, he had to take his clothes off. It's, maybe this is what it could be.
One button at a time.
That's right. Maybe this could be like, the same version that people were trying to blame Ozzy Osbourne and Judas Priest for, like, telling kids to commit suicide. Maybe subliminal messages in Nelly's music made him do this.
I mean, when I first heard the story, I was thinking maybe he was a Terminator who came from the future. But then all of a sudden, you read that he jumped in his Dodge and drove off. And then you show me that other picture, and he's got clothing laying all over the ground.
Yeah,
He didn't need clothes. He had them
no,
in his trunk.
that's right, and we know all Terminators drive motorcycles, right?
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I don't know. This is the oddest Terminator I've seen.
Yeah, this definitely sounds like it's yeah. So I don't know if I was late. Look, if I was laying on the ground naked in the summertime on that asphalt or concrete, I'd be worried about other things, more other personal things going on too, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So
At least ants. My goodness.
at least ants. Yeah.
I mean, there's just a lot of things you can worry about. Now,
Oh,
where did you say this was again? What?
the land of up in Volusia County. It's in between like Orlando and Daytona.
Okay, that totally makes sense. This would never happen in South Florida, right?
Yeah, we're classy in South Florida for sure. All right, yeah.
Our Florida man takes it up a notch or two in class.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Anything that happens above I-4 is a different story. So this is definitely
It's true.
we're two different states here in Florida. I-4 splits the state in half. So yeah, so so yes. So let's go, Brandon. You are our this week's Florida man story there. So cheers to you. And
Wow.
so you never know what you're gonna get. It's funny as many stories that they've become talking about in these different Florida man. It's amazing how many. It's like, what could possibly happen next, right? And
Yeah.
I'm just totally, in awe of what else we could be going through. Actually, right?
I'm just glad that he didn't hurt anybody but himself. I mean,
Well, yeah. I mean, he threw the machete at the guy. I mean,
holy cow.
that really could have been a lot worse, right?
Yeah, I really would not appreciate someone thrusting a machete at me while asking for my clothing. This is not a request I'm accustomed to, nor is it a request I'm looking for.
So, how often? I mean, yeah. I mean, have you ever had any odd things when some strangers come up to you?
Oh, I mean, yeah, all the time. I mean, this is Florida. I used to live in Philadelphia too. It's like you couldn't get gas without someone coming up to talk to you. Uh,
Oh, that's I don't know how. I've never had a naked person or a semi-naked person, approach me or whatnot. So it's definitely like you said, it's again, it's one of those you're definitely gonna be shocked because like, okay, am I really seeing this? And anyway, so
yeah. When I worked at Starbucks a long time ago, I had to escort a man out who was throwing wadded up pieces of paper with innuendo written on it at our female baristas. And after I escorted him out, he came back about an hour later, stuck his head in the door and went, and then slammed the door and ran. That might be the weirdest one I have, but
that is yeah, I've heard some interesting ones that I've refrained from wanting to do on the Florida Man story, where some guy was pleasuring himself at a Starbucks, and it was I somehow I saw it, stumbled across the story. Some girl posted it on the story on TikTok. Didn't post that part, but it posted the whole story that she was
yeah.
there, and all of a sudden she became famous during spring break because she witnessed some dude getting an extra macchiato.
I mean that's not that's not the kind of white chocolate mocha you want.
No, it's not. It's for sure. So, all right. So I think we're gonna come here. We're gonna try to land this sucker here. So, we're gonna give our card here one more try here and see what people think. If humans came
Spitting
with a
beer all over
warming,
myself.
if was that
Oh, I just spit non-alcoholic beer all out my nose.
if humans came with a warning label, what would yours say? So yeah, let's talk about that stuff you're drinking there. So tell me about non-alcoholic rum.
Yeah, so I'm sipping on some right here.
Okay.
I can actually show off the bottle. It's it's actually, this is the bottle.
Okay.
Liar's Dark Cane Spirit. So they don't actually label it as a rum, but it is made from cane syrup,
Hmm.
and has a similar taste to rum. But here's the thing. I would say that, like, if you're doing like I'm doing, it's not a straight substitute.
Hmm.
Like, this would be just rum and rocks, right?
Hmm.
But I'm not. I think it's much closer to the flavor if you do like a rum and coke,
Mm.
or like ginger ale and rum, something
Okay.
like that. So if you use it as a mixer, it's nice.
Okay. And where'd you find something like that?
So you can get this at like the big liquor stores.
Mm.
Like here, I think you can get it at Total Wine. I actually was carrying a subscription for a while. I've got it on pause right now, but I was carrying a subscription from a company called Soul Spirits,
Mm.
and they deliver non-alcoholic um, spirits and mixers. And part of my thinking was, so I might as well say this. So I'm taking a year off of drinking, and but I didn't want to not drink the beverages I enjoy. So I thought that one of the fun things to do would be like figure out how to make a really like solid mocktail. And I figure if I can make a good mocktail, I can make a good cocktail.
Right. Yeah.
And so I've been working on that. I've been trying out the different mocktails, and then also I drink Athletic Brewing Company a lot. But I was already drinking that even when I was drinking beer. Um, but once I gave up alcohol, I now drink Athletic Brewing Company almost every day.
Mm.
Do I?
Sponsorship. You hear that? Athletic Brewing Company.
Oh,
They're just
yeah.
they're just spokesmen right there, guys. Come on.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I'm
Look at that
telling you.
face, right? Yeah. You can put that
You,
face on a can.
actually, I will say something about them. They have been really generous. The organization, the not-for-profit organization that I lead up, they have actually donated some beer to our fishing tournament 2
Okay.
years in a row, and they're non-alcoholic beers. And not everybody wants to drink a non-alcoholic beer, but there are actually quite a few people who do drink regular beer that didn't mind having a non-alcoholic on the water in
Mm.
the morning, because hey, you don't want to get totally plastered out there
Right.
fishing.
Right.
You want to have some wits about you when you get back.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
Some people do. I don't know. I guess it depends on what kind of sailor you are.
That's probably why that's why the Heineken the Zero is from what I understand is pretty good and it's doing pretty well because it's almost to the same sense of like what with smoking. It's the uh, what's the there's a fixation there. You have to do something with your mouth or hands, etc. And the same thing with drinking. And drinking
Yeah,
is a very should be a social thing, right? Um,
yeah.
so you don't want to feel like you're left out or whatever. And if nobody knows what's in your glass, then nobody knows, right?
That
Yeah.
that was exactly what was behind it for me. Was I go to a lot of social events. I'm always having beers, and I thought, what would happen if I just substituted the beer? And I discovered a few months ago that Guinness now has a zero,
Wow.
and Guinness is a fantastic beer. I don't know how they pulled it off, but
Yeah.
they have a Guinness Zero now, and I actually found it even at a bar in Delray Beach. So
Hmm.
I'm just living
Very-
the dream here,
That's
drinking
right.
beer, but not drinking alcohol so
That's
much.
right. Yeah.
Kind of crazy.
That gets you into trouble. You don't need any trouble.
I get wild on 3 of these.
There you go. So no, I definitely got to check that out. I got to dig a little bit more into that. That's something. So what was the name of the rum?
So the
Or
rum is Lyres, Lyre
Liars. Okay.
apostrophe S, Dark Cane Spirit.
Mm.
And this is I've bought several of these. So
Okay.
I literally, just to tell you how much I enjoy doing this, I was on a work trip to Orlando. No, it was in Texas. I took this when I was working on I went on a work trip to Texas, and then I went and recorded the Mr. Rogers record. I took a bottle of this with me.
So
And
it's not like
I'm like taking shots.
so it's not like it's non-alcoholic or not like O'Doul's, right? We used to work at a bar in a restaurant, and people would parents come up and say, "Oh yeah, I'll have this," and oh non-alcohol because it's listed in non-alcoholic section. They'll say, "Oh well, here are duels." I said, they can't. I said they can't drink that, and they're like, "But it's non-alcoholic." It's like there's a small percentage of alcohol in this. It's misleading, yes, but I was like, I can't serve them, and so yeah, I wonder if it's non-alcoholic. Could you drive around in your car with it? Right? You can be open container, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I mean, maybe not the ones. Some of them will actually say it contains less than 0.5%. Maybe you
Right.
can't, but like I don't know, kombucha is less than 0.5. I wouldn't feel weird about driving around with a kombucha, you know. So
Absolutely.
I don't know. I don't know what the law is on that, but I do know you cannot get intoxicated off of this beer.
All right. Well, it does
I've
show.
tried.
I'm on their website, and then there is a couple places here close to Jupiter, so I may have to check it out or sample it or something like that. That's definitely interesting here for National Rum Month, non-alcoholic. I know it's almost like Liars. Liars is the name of the brand, so it's like there's no rum in this. You liars.
Damn
Maybe it
liars.
just worked out that way, I guess. So, well, cool. I learned something new today. Very good, very good. So, all right, well, cool. I know this has been a little bit of a rough night here. Again, I'm gonna have to figure out get my technical issues all resolved here. But Jamey, again, you're a good friend of mine, and again, hopefully, we can, meet up sometime soon. I know it's like been ages ago since we've. I think maybe your birthday. I think it was the last time we hung out, right? Your birthday party at
Yeah,
Saltwater.
man.
Was a square group of you? Charlie was saying the square group was the last time I think we saw you guys, and then but yeah, I think it was good because it was
Yeah.
still pandemic-y, right?
Yeah, April of last year was my birthday party where my dad was in town
Okay.
and you came out for that. And then I don't remember exactly when we went to Square Grouper. And then of course
Right.
you were also on my podcast, Brews,
Mm.
Beards and Shipwrecks, just a
Yep.
few months back. Might be more than a few at this point. I'm not
Right.
sure because I can't keep track. But
Oh, so before I forget, so you're talking about the new stuff.
yeah.
Um, so I obviously Mike is doing the music, right?
Yeah, so
Okay.
this one is a mix. So
Okay.
Mike is doing some vocals and some music, but there's like five different beat producers on the record.
Cool.
Um, so I kind of pulled in people from different places. Most of everybody has been on one of the recent records.
Okay.
Um, I do have one new producer that I'm excited about that did three beats,
Very cool.
but yeah, Mike is on there. In fact, we've got a really fun rap. It's been a while since Mike and I have really rapped together, and he raps on a couple of the songs, and it's just so fun, so fun.
We need. I just had came to mind when there. I was thinking about. It's like, all right, we need to get some. Is your Have you checked to see if Royal Ruckus shows up on TikTok in the music?
I have not. I've
All
not
right,
checked.
so I'm gonna check after we get it off here because I think we need to start blowing up a bartender waitress challenge to that song, right? To that song,
Yeah.
the waitress song, right? No, again, this is how shit gets viral, man. This is it. This is
Well, and the thing is that we do rap about rum on that song, so it's a
yeah.
perfect fit.
I
And
know.
I know that song, the waitress song from the Summer of the Cicadas. That is on like if you're doing Facebook stories or Instagram stories, I know it's there. So it could be in the TikTok verse as well. I'm not sure. I will say that one of the things that I plan to do in the next couple of months as we prepare for the release is I want to make sure more and more of this music is available there because I know that that's how people find it nowadays.
I don't know. It's interesting, and we obviously can't delve into it tonight, but
Yeah,
is how the the TikTok apps and how all the social media apps that have the tie into it, how does it ultimately pan out for the artist? Because I feel like sometimes like TikTok is like doing rip off, versions of existing
sure.
music,
Yeah,
of that become like the big songs or whatever. But I'm wondering how certain artists. I guess it's better to get any way somebody learns about you and your music, it's great. But at the same time, is like, are you fairly getting the right compensation for it too? Which I know is a whole another thing. Like obviously why
yeah,
streaming and Spotify and things like that are really killing. It's you don't make the money like you used to putting your music on the because radio nobody listens to radio anymore. But so
yep.
that's for a whole nother time. So
That's for
yeah,
the long form podcast.
that's right. Yeah, we need to come back. So yeah, but if you're watching this, so at whatever point you're watching this, definitely definitely check out also Jamie's podcast there. I'm gonna screw it up, Jamie, so I'm gonna apologize right now. So forgive me, Father, for I'm gonna screw up the name of the podcast. Brews, Beers, and Shipwrecks.
You got it.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Why is it so hard, right?
Yeah, well, and if you don't mind me saying,
Yeah.
the easy way to find it is brewsbeards.com.
Okay.
Brews as in BREWS.
Okay.
And then also we're doing buymeacoffee.com/Royal Ruckus.
Cool.
I have a whole bunch of stuff up there about the new music.
Very cool. Cool. Yeah.
Not Mr. Roberts.
Mr. R. We're just gonna go by Mr. R. That's it, right? Yeah. So
Works
many
for
times, times people ask me like about my name. I'm like, yep, that's it. And again, you know me personally, and it's like sometimes it depends on who I'm talking to. I got to remember what name I'm going by.
That's right.
Today.
I've been called much worse than
Right.
that.
Right. So, and I think one last thing I was wanting to mention, crap, now I forgot now what it was. It was something about but yeah, I definitely would love to. I want to connect you and one of our other podcast guests, Sarah, and she sung the song the Rum song, and she's got a really great voice. She's doing a lot of also some of her own music, indie stuff, and she's down with the collab. So maybe she hit me up about want to do some punk stuff or some other things, and
Nice.
maybe there's some rap collab with her style. It's like a Dido meets Eminem kind of style also, 'cause she does like very soulful kind of songs. So
Man, I love some collabs and I love some crossover too.
yeah, cool. I will definitely connect you guys on IG there. So
That'd be awesome.
yep. So all right, Jamie, I really appreciate you putting up with all of our snafus that we had tonight, and I think I'm just gonna throw the computer out and just start all over again.
Well, I'm so glad you got it working though.
I don't know what I don't. Again, I'm sitting here looking at the monitor here, and it shows me that the frame rates are dropping. So I'm not sure. Everything is all hardwired, so I'm not sure what's going on here. But had some other issues there, so we'll definitely maybe I just have to take a little break for a while on these Thursday nights to kind of. I'm again like we were talking. We're doing way too much, and when we were talking about your podcast there is he's trying to look to kind of come together, and a couple other different very similar podcasts, music or spirits related, and definitely look to more to come on. So if you're watching or listening to this, you are going to learn more about Jamey, his podcast, and of course, I don't want to forget about your co-host there, Nomad Vagabond.
Shout out to Nomadic Vagabond.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
So definitely that was a great podcast you guys had there recently. That was like a pure drum one there. So I forgot you guys talked about you guys drank too much rum one night. Was that the podcast I was on?
That was with you. Oh. Yeah, we were talking about with you. We drank so much rum the night that we had you on Brews, Beards, and Shipwrecks. And toward the end, we got a little silly, and
the podcast became the shipwreck part.
It was so great. It was such a fun episode. I had so much fun listening back to it. I don't listen back to every episode, but that one I did listen back to, and I was chuckling when we got to that part.
Cool.
But you're right. The last episode that we dropped was with this rapper Sojourn, and he is a drummer as well. And he currently plays, like, his full-time gig is music, and he's playing drums in I think 3 different bands. So it was amazing to have him on. Like we initially invited him on to talk about rap, and then we had him on. We're like, wait a minute, all 3 of us on this episode are drummers. We got to talk about drums. I mean, I almost feel like I'm not a drummer because I haven't touched sticks in years, but in my heart, I'm always a drummer. So it was so fun to hear someone who's really still doing it, and
right,
and someone I respect as a rapper too, to be like, oh yeah, you also drum. So
that's cool. So yeah, to definitely check out their latest episode there, as Jamie mentioned, and also I don't want to forget about our episode we dropped this week with Tony Ursone, sales manager at Outerbanks Distilling that we're got here. We were just drinking some a little bit, or I was at least drinking some of it, and up in the Outer Banks, North Carolina, basically the almost like the edge of the earth out there. So a lot of cool history about shipwrecks and things. Yeah, shipwrecks. There you go. Right. Yeah. So here you go. Right. So,
Telling you,
oh,
another crossover.
there you go. Right. Shipwrecks. Right. There's a lot of cool stories about the shipwrecks up there in the Outer
That's so
Banks.
cool.
So
Yeah, there's literally a ship sinking on the. That's what it looks like, right? That's a ship sinking on the label.
it looks, yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
so yeah. So we'll definitely
Or
yeah.
it's wrecked and it's sticking out of the water. But bottom line, relevant.
So yeah, if you haven't listened to the podcast yet, I'm not speaking solely to you, Jane, because I know you've already listened to it.
Yeah,
Of
course.
is Tony talks about one of the owners of the distillery. He was walking on the beach back in the early in the year, end of last year. And it was
Yeah.
winter, and a lot of the shoals is shifting. That's why there's a lot of shipwrecks because the sands and everything shifts and moves. And one of the nor'easters that happened uncovered a wreck. And I guess whenever you find
Wow.
a wreck, you get to name the wreck, or it's named after you. So this wreck that the owner had came over, I guess Scott. I'm screwing up the name, but was named after him. And I was like, well, that's actually pretty cool. So actually, and not too far from where the distillery is, there's all the pirate history. There's where supposedly where Blackbeard was, uh, I guess executed and all sorts of stuff there, and a lot of cool history there. Definitely good. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, good tie in there, right? Good
That's
ships,
awesome.
brews, beards, and shipwrecks.
You got
There
it.
you go. So, all right, Jamie, I'm gonna let you go. I know you're a busy guy, and
Thanks
appreciate
so
you.
much for having me, man.
Yeah, this was definitely fun. Let's definitely try to meet up sometime soon, and actually in person, and then
That'd be good.
yeah. So, all right, Jamie, have a great night. Thanks a lot, all.
Thanks.
Have a great night. And this is Paul, the biggest happy hour in an hour and 15 minutes. Thanks, everyone.